Page 6, flowers that bloom in the spring. Now, at the top of page 6, they talk about phrase marks and ties. Now, I don't remember what you've had and what you haven't, so I don't know what we're reviewing and what we're not. A phrase mark is a big curved line over 2 or more notes. It's usually a bunch of notes, okay? Also called a slur, but when it's over a whole lot of notes, like a musical sentence type thing, it's a phrase. If it's just 2 or 3 notes, it's probably just a slur. Same mark, it's the same curved line, okay? Then just to make things even more interesting, So if you take a look here on the first line, you see that curved line that goes over the first 3 measures or so? That's a phrase. We want to play all of those notes connected. We'd play them connected anyway, even if it wasn't there. But the point is, when you get to the next to the last measure in the first line, where one phrase ends and another phrase begins, there we're going to put just a little bit of silence between the 2 phrases in the right hand. The left hand just keeps going. It doesn't have any phrases. So the last 2 measures of the first line would be 1, 2. See, I would not connect the G and the A. Like that. When it's between phrases, I want silence. So just a little bit of silence between them. And that's only in the right hand because that's the one that's marked with phrases. So you see these in the second line. It happens in the 3rd measure, where you have a C that's tied over, and then before you play the second beat, the C, in the 3rd measure, a little bit of silence between them. Now when you play repeated notes on a piano, you get a little bit of silence anyway, but we want a little more for the phrase. Then in the 3rd line, 2nd measure, same thing. You're playing the G and the half note, then we lift up on the G before we play the E. So we get a little bit of silence in them. And you can lift your hand up and drop it gently between the phrases if that'll help you. The left hand has no phrases marked, so it just plays straight through. It's all connected, unless there's a rest. Now, the tie is the same curved line, except it's only 2 notes. You can only tie 2 notes together, and they have to be the same note. For instance, in the 2nd line, 2nd and 3rd measure. In the right hand, you see that dotted half note C? In the next measure, there's a quarter note C, and there's a line connecting them. That means you tie those 2 together, so you don't play the quarter note C, you hang on to the dotted half note for another beat. You play, you hold down for the other note. So the 2 notes tied together is the total length of the note. So in this case, it's 4 beats long on that. You get the same thing in the last measure. Last 2 lines in the right hand. The C, dotted half note is going to get 3 counts. It's tied to a half note, which gets 2. So the whole thing together, you're going to hold that down for 5 counts. It does confuse some people sometimes because it's the same mark. But you'll get the hang of it, and I'll say a little more about it from time to time. We want to bring out the melody, okay? In this case, for the most part, it's in the right hand. So you can play the right hand a little louder than the left because we want to hear this melody. Then in the 2nd line, 1st measure, they have it marked for you that the left hand plays 1 note of melody. So you have to play the left hand note at the same loudness as what you've been playing the melody. Okay, and it needs to sound like one hand does it all. All right, takes a little practice to get both of the hands going, but that's what we're doing here. You get it again in the last line. You'll see the 3rd to the last measure. The left hand has 1 note of melody. Let's try this out. 3/4 time it has a pickup beat. C major, it has no sharps or flats. Right hand here. Left hand's here. C position. I'll give us 2 counts and we'll start. Ready, go.